Hey everybody, how is it going today? Well, the market is down yet again, but I do have an interesting company that I want to tell you about. They did have some news that came out, and I've been watching them for a few days, so they're starting to pull back. I want to go over that news. I want to go over their recent chart and show you where I would like to buy this company because I think they could be going higher in the near future. And then after that, I have some other interesting charts to show you as well. Now, the name of this company is SOS Limited, and if you're not familiar with them, they are a technology company that provides marketing data, technology, and solutions for emergency rescue services to corporate and individual members. It operates SOS Cloud Emergency Rescue Service software as a service platform that offers basic cloud products such as medical rescue, car rescue, financial rescue, and mutual assistant rescue. Now, in the news that came out today, they say that SOS Limited announced pricing of an $86 million registered direct offering priced at the market. It also says SOS, which is an emerging blockchain based and big data driven marketing solution provider, announced today that it has entered into a securities purchase agreement with certain accredited investors to purchase the $86 million worth of its American depository shares and warrants in a registered direct offering that, again, is priced at the market. Now, the company intends to use the proceeds from the offering to develop its recently launched cloud cryptocurrency mining and cryptocurrency security and insurance business, as well as for working capital and general corporate use. So this is big news for the company to be raising capital when the stock price is high so they can build out more of their Bitcoin mining business. So this is great news for the future of the company. All right, well, let's head over to the charts right now and let's see how the stock is digesting that news. Now, of course, the market is down today, so you'd expect there to be a downward bias on all the stocks. But when a company does announce a share offering, that usually does knock the stock down anyway because it is diluting the shareholder base. And it is down about 14% at the moment, but in my opinion, it is holding up rather well. I was actually hoping it was going to come down closer to this 8-period exponential moving average, well under $10, and it has not made it down there as of yet. But this stock is super strong. I mean, just look down here at the volume. The volume has been absolutely huge on the upside, and look at the down days. I mean, you can barely see those red bars. Even today, with the announcing of that offering, which would usually bring in a little bit more volume, it's, barely up to the average daily volume as of right now. Of course, its trading day is still going, so it's going to go a little bit higher. But when you look at all the recent updates that just have been getting higher and higher as far as volume goes, this is a beautiful looking chart at the moment. And if this pulls back to this area right around the 8-period exponential moving average, right around the low of 2 days ago, I'm going to be very interested in adding some of this company. I would actually love to see it come down and fill this gap. I think if it does come down to the 8-period exponential moving average in the next day or so, I'm going to buy. And if it does come down and fill this gap below $8, which is a long ways down, but it could happen. If it does fill that gap, I think I'm probably going to add to the position because I think SOS Limited has a very good chance at being the next RIOT blockchain. That one has just gone absolutely crazy if you haven't seen RIOT. In fact, let's jump over to RIOT real quick in case you're not familiar with it. But RIOT blockchain is up almost $70 a share right now, and it's pulling back. I remember I did a video on RIOT way back here in the teens, and apparently I should have took my own advice and bought it and just held on. I would not have dreamed that RIOT blockchain would be up around $75 just a few months later. And I think SOS could be probably have the same type of movement, especially if Bitcoin continues to stay strong. But let's go back over to SOS real quick. And SOS looks like it could be in the early stages. Now, we have had a massive run up, so you don't want to be buying into these kind of run ups typically. I know things have been absolutely crazy in the market lately, but you want to try to buy these pullbacks, and it looks like SOS is finally starting to pull back a little. Let's go intraday and check out some of the intraday levels. Now going to the 15-minute chart, you can see why I like that level so much. I mean, you have a lot of lows that were kind of like spike lows right in this area, and those are very good levels of support. When they spike down and then spike right back up real quick, they don't hang around. You know, when you get something that hangs around like this, it looks like it's probably going to tip over and go lower, but when you get those spikes, those are usually sharp points of support. And if we zoom in just a little bit, we can see that price is starting to bend down. You know, it came up, it found resistance at the 8-period exponential moving average, and it's starting to hook down. So I would expect some further price decline from here. I don't know how low it's going to go. I would love to see it come down and fill this gap right around 775. But the way this market has been, I highly doubt it's going to make it that far. But if it makes it down below $9 a share, I'm going to be very interested in adding some, and then I'm going to look to double down if it gets down to this gap fill area right around 762. And let's go back to the daily chart. Going back to the daily chart, you can see that, you know, there's a lot of levels right there that it has to get through. But this 8-period exponential moving average is where I'm going to be most interested in buying, and that's probably going to coincide with this 878 area. So I think that is going to be a very strong area of support if it can just fall that far. I might even add a little bit at 959 just because I want to start building a position in this one in case we do get that next leg up. But those are my current thoughts on SOS Limited. If you guys are in this one, let me know down there in the comment section, because I want to know some of your guys' projections on this stock. I've only been looking into it for the last week or so, and I don't know, I'm pretty interested in what is going on with SOS. They are a Chinese-based company, so some of those Chinese-based companies have been known to make believe with a little bit of their numbers, so that's probably one of the reasons I've been a little bit hesitant to get into it. But, you know, volume is surging on this, so there's a lot of interest, so I am definitely interested in taking a position in SOS Limited if it does pull back. But let me know in the comments section what you guys think of this company and what your projections are. Now, like I said earlier, the market is down, and it is down on the news that the weekly unemployment claims unexpectedly surged last week, rising above 800,000 as the labor market recovery has stalled. It says initial jobless claims week ended February 13th were 861,000 versus an expected 773,000. That's a pretty big miss as far as that goes, and they were upwardly revised to 848,000 during the prior week. Now, you always see these revisions. They're always to the upside. You almost never see them to the downside. It's like, you know, they don't want to throw that big number out there to spook the market too much, so they revise it a week later, and by then it's old news and nobody really cares. So that's a little trick that they like to play with the unemployment numbers. But it also says that the continued claims week ending February 6th were 4.494 million versus 4.425 million expected, and they were upwardly revised to 4.558 million during the prior week. So the unemployment data looks like it is getting worse, so that's definitely something we got to keep an eye on because that always has a big effect on the market. Now let's get over to the charts. All right, well, the first one I want to show you guys is the QQQ, which is the exchange traded fund for the NASDAQ. This is my favorite exchange traded fund on the market averages I like to look for because I think the NASDAQ usually leads the rest of the averages, but we can see that this one is down about 1% at the moment. But just a quick follow-up to yesterday's video that I did when the QQQs were trading near the lows. I said that we were well on our way to another potential distribution day, but that did not happen because the market reversed and the other averages ended near the highs, so that does not count as a distribution day. If you don't know what I'm talking about with the distribution day, I will link that at the end of this video. It is the way that Investors Business Daily calls a market top, and I think it is definitely worth your time getting to know how they do that. And I just scratched the surface on that video. I'd highly recommend looking into how they do that even further because that is a great way to know when to get in and out of stocks. But anyway, today, like I said, is down actually 1% at the moment. but I'm not too worried about today's action because if we do zoom in, we can see that it is holding that purple line, which is the 21-period exponential moving averages. I usually don't like to get too bearish until the markets break that average. You know, I'm always weary of them holding that 8-period exponential moving average just because that confirms that it's in a nice uptrend. But some of these pullbacks are totally natural. So I usually don't get too worried until it breaks the 21 period like it did a couple of weeks ago. That's on one of my old videos. I said I was going to buy some inverted ETFs, but of course it made a liar out of me the next day and the market reversed course and jumped right back above that 8-period exponential moving average, which wasn't that big of a deal. I took my small loss and got long stocks again. But as you can see, it tends to hold that purple line. Those are just normal pullbacks before it continues to go up. And until we break that line substantially like we did a couple of weeks ago, I don't think that we have really too much to worry about. I think the market is going to be just fine. And if we take a look at the diamonds, which is the Dow Jones, you can see that one is in much better shape than the NASDAQ. And if we look at the spider, which is the S&P 500, that one is just below the 8-period exponential moving average right now, but it is right at it. So it could certainly close above it if the market finishes strong. So pullbacks like these are typically times to add to your good longs because these are gifts if the market continues higher. But let's go back to the QQQ real quick. The QQQ, in my opinion, leads the market, so it's not surprising that it's a little bit further down, a little bit lower than the other two averages, but it doesn't really concern me too much until it starts rolling over harder. You know, once it starts having these huge down days below it, then you know we're going to get a little bit of more of a sustained downtrend. I thought this was the beginning of one, but of course it was a false signal, which that's not a big deal. But I'll be keeping a close eye on these Qs. And yesterday, let me go to the 5-minute chart. I kind of missed it because I was doing that TSNP video, but there was another great positive divergence. I don't know if you guys have caught some of my old videos where I day trade these positive divergences in the QQQ. Let's put the MACD on the screen here and I can show you what I was talking about. But unfortunately, I missed this one because I was making a YouTube video. It was right on this second dip that we had early on in the day. And you can see that positive divergence. These things are great little day trades that I like to do on the QQQ. If you're not familiar with what an MACD positive or negative divergence is, that is something you definitely want to learn because those are pretty accurate, pretty reliable trading setups. And there was another great one in the QQQs yesterday, but unfortunately I missed it. But all right, let's go to some other nice looking charts because if the market is turning around, which I think it could be, now would be the time to start adding to some longs. All right, well, despite the market being down, I do have some decent looking charts to show you guys. The first one I want to show you is BBI. If we zoom in a little bit, we can see it's pulling back to the support level that I had drawn on the chart a few days ago. And actually, it's bouncing already. When I was looking at this one earlier, it was just starting to get down to that level, and it's already bounced from the 137 area up to $1.46. I was actually hoping to pick some of this up around $1.36 or $1.37, but it looks like I have missed it because it did not stay down there very long. But it's still in a good uptrend, and it's still in a pullback, so it's still at a very nice buy area. This is exactly what you want to look for when you are looking to buy a stock, because once one starts an uptrend, your job is to buy the declines. The only thing you have to answer is when, and this looks like it is as good a time as any because BBI looks pretty strong. It's pulling back on very light volume. So I don't think this pullback is anything to be worried about. Hopefully the market doesn't go into crash mode, and if it doesn't, then I think BBI should be a good bet coming out of it. But let's get into the next one, which is CJJD. This is another Chinese company, China JoJo Drugstores Incorporated. It has broken above the 200 period simple moving average lately and is pulling back to support level right now. It's actually jumped up a little bit from it. I would actually like to see a little bit more of a green candle coming off of this side of the pattern because it is still just barely above that 200 period simple moving average, but we can see that we got this nice creeping uptrend on the right side of the rounding bottom, and now it has exploded through the moving averages and it is coming back down on top of the previous move up. So that usually tells us if it starts to turn right back up, this starts the trend acceleration phase, because you want to go from that creeping uptrend to the trend acceleration phase when it makes a low on top of another high rather than falling back into it like it did on all these other previous moves. So CJJD looks like it's in the beginning stages of the acceleration phase. That's one that's definitely worth watching. Next one I want to go over is ships. This one just keeps coming up on my scans. It's calling my name, but it's actually pulling back hard as we speak because it wasn't this low when I put it on the list. But I've seen that a lot of these maritime stocks are actually getting crushed today and yesterday, I believe. So, I mean, it could be just a natural pullback in some of these, but ships itself is actually holding up quite well. And if you were thinking about getting in one of these maritime stocks, this probably wouldn't be a bad time for ships. I haven't entered this one yet, but I am strongly considering it because it just keeps popping up on my list. But you can see, we back out a little bit, the trend up is just starting, and it looks like it could be making a low on top of the other high pretty much, but we need that other turnaround, that other move up. The only problem with stocks that are this cheap, when they do turn around, they can turn around really fast. So it could be kind of hard to catch those moves as they start to go up. But haven't bought ships yet, but I am strongly considering it. Let's go to the next one, which is PTE. I talked about this one, I believe, yesterday or the day before, but it's still holding that 8-period exponential moving average just perfectly. And I think if the market does turn around, this could be another great stock because it is just starting to consolidate and head sideways. And it is, if the 8-period exponential moving average keeps rising up into it and it doesn't break below it, I think this one is going to get slingshotted higher. And actually, if we go to the 15-minute chart, we can see it just a little bit better, starting to make that nice rounding bottom inside of that consolidation. Had that false break a couple days ago, and if it can jump back above 180 and hold that white line, that 8-period exponential moving average, I think this one could be off to the races. All right, the next one I want to show you is NBY. This was found by Dodgers 2021 in our Patreon group. This one is super strong today, and that is a good sign when the market is down and the stock is still up big. So the chances are if the market does turn around, this one is probably going to continue its strength. And I do think this is going to be just a buying opportunity in the market. That's just a feeling I get. Just doesn't seem like it's going to be a big turnaround to the downside. But that remains to be seen. But a great find by Doyers 2021. What's up with the Doyers, man? How come there's no love for the Yankees? That's what we need of the Yankees here. And I was really hoping the Yankees were going to sign Nolan Arenado, but man, the Cardinals swooped in and grabbed him. So it looks like in the National League it's going to be Clash of the Titans this year coming up. It's going to be the Dodgers and the Cardinals, man. That should be some great matchups for those. But the next one I want to show you is Sundial. Actually, this is going to be the last one. But this one is coming down to a nice buy area. It's pulling back hard all the way down from $4. But look at this area of support in Sundial Growers. If you miss this one, this could be a great time to enter. But this looks like a potentially great trade area as well because the 21-period exponential moving average is right there. So Sundial Growers is pulling back to a fantastic support area. It might even be there probably by the end of the day because it was falling a little harder. It looks like it's finding a little bit of strength right now, but it wouldn't surprise me one bit if it pulls back into this green box today. But Sundial Growers definitely worth keeping your eyes on for either a buy for an ad for your long-term hold or to start a position, or if you just want to take a swing trade. This should be some decent support where it's at right now. All right, guys, well, that's all I have for this video, so I'm going to end it right there. But if you have any questions about any of these stocks, or if you have any other stocks you want me to take a look at, please leave them down there in the comment section. I will get to them as soon as I can. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching my video all the way to the end, guys, and until next time, take care.